Welcome to Concerts from my music room. During the various lockdowns, I've been giving little concerts from my music room to try and add a little cheer to others' lives. This particular concert takes us through snow-clad and frosted countryside to Christmas Eve in my poetry and music. The foxes bark in the clear night air, the snap of a twig on frosted night ground, the coldness, snow, deep or hard frost, and the smell of coldness all around. My senses are heightened, and the stars are bright in the night sky of searing cold that cracks the twigs and breath. A cold of beauty, of nature frozen to its core, with little thought of the caress of thaw. It is winter. The Colne Valley. The crunch of breaking ice and snapping twigs, the sharpness of the air and every outline crisp and white as birds search out their winter fare. The quietest silence ever heard, as the mist on a dawning winter's day rises, or even as the dusk collects and daylight fades. The softest touch of snow like white down o'er all the earth, soft, feather-like, like the myriad of tiny feeding birds, and the delicate sunsets, backdrop to the flight of homing birds as they cross the watery winter sky. A beautiful month is winter, a sadness to let it go, with its coldness and crispness and snapping of twigs, and the silence and beauty of winter snow, and the beauty of silence in snow. Snow. Silence. The silence of snow. Deep, cold silence that stills the flow of all in its frozen path. Deep cold, stealing colour and hiding all in this world of white. Mysterious world. World of silence. Deep silence. Silence that locks all in a lost world where we hear no call of beast or fowl, and the very sounds of earth remain unheard. Deep silence that stills the flow of all in this frozen world. The next piece I'd like to share with you started out as a poem which was a gift for a friend. The friend liked 5-barred gates. There followed an improvisation to go with the poem, which really came to mind the last line of the poem, a beautiful snowy gate taken locally some years before. The improvisation was luckily recorded for the friend and subsequently written down. The 5-bar gate, evocative scene, partner to a field of buttercups in spring, a resting place for watchers of a summer day, a place to recollect for passers-by, a place for a child to stroke a horse, the farmer for conversation, a place for lovers to loiter and gaze, for the artist a place of imagination. A tranquil scene in summer, a lead to winding lanes of autumn leaves. Enchantment, invitation to cross snow-clad fields. Thoughts on Christmas. Finding the stockings safely tucked in their drawer, still holding the smell of last Christmas. And all the feelings of Christmas return once more with everything wrapped up in frost. And cutting the holly on a sharp winter's morning for the wreath on the door. And the garlands besparkled with powdery snow. And we anticipate Christmas dawning once more. Secret rapping and laughter and whispering, a sparkling frost and a cold winter's night, the warmth and cheer on a dark afternoon as we mix puddings, squeeze lemons and oranges and mix in the spice. Choosing a tree in the cold and the dark among a forest of trees, a smell of pine, and the final satisfaction in your choice, and the magic and anticipation as we bring it home. Each tip, frost-sparkled, reaching into frosty nighttime skies, as if sharing all our thoughts, reaching up to share the twinkling stars. Late at night, everything is quiet. A stable full of hay and figures bending low. One of them is me, placing Christmas here and bending with the shepherds of the scene before the Christmas nativity, and the Christ child in the manger there. And it was for me to share that first Christmas, and the feeling of reverence and deep tranquility, and all was quiet. And at this late hour, there was a tiny space for peace. Lullaby Jesu, a piano transcription of a Christmas choral piece I wrote a few years ago. The angels are calling us. And the last line, do we still hear them? The last piece I'd like to share with you came about as a little story that came into my head when I was about to lay down and go to sleep one night. It's about a tiny piece of music, well actually one line only, on a music room shelf. He's rather lonely and a bit shy, but one day finds himself on the front of the piano, and the small child in the house who's learning to play discovers him. She thinks he's delightful and shares him with her mum, who also thinks he's delightful. He sings quietly to himself, he's so delighted, and over the coming days and weeks he gradually sings to himself each day, growing longer and longer until he becomes a full piece of music. On Christmas Eve, a little robin flutters in through the window, and they sing a duet together. You'll hear the robin fluttering throughout the piece. And although it's a piece for piano, the words came to mind. It's Christmas. And at the very end, we finish with gentle Christmas bells. Christmas Eve in the music room, duet between Little Tune and Robin. It was Christmas morning. The child and mother came into the room. Why, it's beautiful, and reminds me of the robin we heard singing last night. Thank you for sharing this little concert with me, and whatever you're doing at Christmas, I sincerely hope you have a very peaceful Christmas.